Welcome to Milesh and Sadie Property Talks, the podcast where we explore property, design, and the decisions behind successful projects.
I'm Milesh, property developer, strategic advisor, and founder of The Property Edge, helping investors, developers, and business owners make better property decisions.
And I'm Sadie, an interior designer helping create homes and developments that people genuinely want to live in, buy, and stay in.
So today's episode is a big one. Ready?
Yes.
10 questions which we wish people asked before starting a project.
Because people often spend months choosing kitchens, tiles, bathrooms, paint colours.
But sometimes don't spend enough time asking the questions that really determine whether a project will be successful.
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Okay, 10 questions. Dun, dun, dun.
Should we try and do quickfire?
Oh, okay, fine. This could be our shortest episode ever. So,
Oh, but you do like to talk.
how very rude. Right, I'm up first for you, okay? That's
Who's
right.
answering?
I'm going to ask you a question, you're going to answer it, and then we're going to go back and forth.
Is that how Q&A works?
This is how Q&A works. Basic. Okay, so number one question. Why am I actually doing this?
Okay. Is it for investment? Obviously. Do you want income? Do you want capital? Is it for your family? Is it to create a legacy? Is it for your lifestyle? Or do you just want a bit of ego trip and say, yeah, I've got a property.
Wow.
Done.
Done. That was quick.
Told you.
That's everything we're going to cover, and why are we going to do it?
No pressure. Ready?
Okay, fine.
Your turn.
My answer might be a bit longer, just putting that as a caveat.
How do we want to live?
So important, because the fundamental, we have a 10-step process, just putting it out there quickly. Number 2 of the process, we work on our layouts. So in our number 1 step, which is our drill down chat, we go massively into how are you going to live in that property?
How big?
Massively into, because that then determines the layouts and the full design inside that home. So you have to know, how are you moving around the space? How are you using each room? How do you want the whole property to feel in general? What are the functionality side of the house that needs to be great? Where are the rooms where you want to relax? Where are the rooms where you want to entertain? And we then drill straight, hence why it's called the drill down. We then drill into each room. So for example, when we're in a utility, we'll be saying, is it 1 washer? Is it two washers? Are you putting out for laundry baskets? What sort of storage do you want in this space? And that's the amount of detail we go in room by room. So actually, that number 1 question of how are you going to live in the property is crucial.
And breathe.
Thank you. That was me being really quick.
Wow.
Question number 3. Who is the end customer?
It could be one of many here.
So this could be long.
So we have 2 exits. We always say have 2 exits in mind when you're buying, right? Mm-hmm. So who are the typical end customers? Is it a buyer? So if you're doing a flip project and you want to sell the deal, then is it a buyer who wants to move in? Is it a tenant? So something that you're renting out, is that your end customer? Is it yourself? You talk a lot about, working with clients directly who want to refurbish or do work to their own house. Is it them?
Yeah.
And then the future flexibility angle is an important one. So particularly if you're doing a house for yourself, then what could the future look like? I'm treading on your ground a little bit, but what could that future look like? So if you don't have kids today, what might that look like when you do have kids, if that's the plan?
Yeah.
And what might you want to consider now? Maybe not from a finishing perspective specifically in terms of what furniture you have and stuff, but what are the main structural pieces of work that you need to think about that's going to give you that future flexibility? Also, from an investment angle, flexibility-wise, we always say 2 exits. So if you're originally looking to flip, do the numbers on rental. So that future flexibility of it could be an end user, that's the aim, but actually it could be a tenant. Yeah. That's also an aim. There needs to be a checkpoint in your process whilst you're going through that refurb, for example, that decision will need to be made so you can double down on your actual end user. Okay.
But also, I don't want to jump into yours, but I did just have something to add.
Wow.
Demographic analysis as well. So I know you said, are they going to be a buyer? Are they going to be a renter? But
What type?
What type? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's obvious.
well, it's not obvious to everybody. That's why we're doing the whole podcast. So is it a family? Are you in an area of young professionals? Is it retirees?
100%.
Understand who your end users are, because
Yep.
then that will lead you on to your layouts and your finishes and blah, blah, blah.
Thank you for your input.
No probs.
You can answer my next one.
Okay.
So, ready?
Yes.
The question is moving better than renovating?
Oh, this is a big one. It's all down to what you want. So there's obviously costs involved both ways. The cost of moving is stamp duty, legal fees, plus uprooting your whole life. That's a massive change. But the cost of renovating is now substantial. That's definitely not cheap. Doesn't matter how you sort of look at it. I think it comes down to sort of many different things. Number one, is the property in a location that you want to stay in? Is it a street you want to stay in? Is it near the schools that your kids might want to go to? Is this somewhere that you see is going to work for you long term? Question number two, does the existing property work for you? Or if it doesn't work for you now, is there a way of making it work for you in the future? And that can mean that you are recarving up the existing space, or is there space on the plot to make the house bigger? Question number three, I think, comes down to how much are you, or your personality, how much are you able to cope with that sort of level of stress of actually going through a renovation? Because you cannot underestimate the toll it takes. Obviously, there's ways to sort of minimize that. Moving out of the property while you renovate, bringing on the right team, bringing in a great interior designer, but there still is an impact to your life. Whereas the option of kind of looking at a new house, potentially something that's already done, worst idea for me, but some people love that, and then moving straight into that bigger property might suit you better.
Like it.
Thank
Can I
you.
add?
Go.
I guess it depends on budget, right?
Yeah.
Location's absolutely critical because you have to factor that in.
Yeah.
But budget's important as well, because versus the time and the headache and upheaval that it's going to cost. So balancing those two out will help to sway that decision.
Yes, you will probably need to do quite a lot of research into what it would cost to renovate, because you could underestimate that cost.
Yeah.
Even if you did a renovation, say 5 years ago, you will be surprised where the numbers lie now. So you would want to sort of deep dive into that before assuming that's going to be your cheaper option.
Yeah, and actually, if you love the location, I mean, you can carve up a house in so many different ways.
Yeah.
If costs aren't an issue, you could completely just keep the shell of your house and go all out on the internals.
Caveat though, ceiling price, I would say, always off the
depending
street.
on if it's forever home or not.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, so that again, it's a cost factor.
Yeah.
Are you going to sell it in the future? Do you care what that price is? Are you going to be here or not? Being a bit bleak about it, but there is that, right? There's enjoying what you've got whilst you're here and whilst you've got it versus that legacy.
Yeah.
And some people it flips the other way, and actually legacy is everything, so they want to do things that way.
Fair. Okay. Question number 5. Is that right?
Yeah,
Gosh.
I think so.
Okay. How do I get my money back?
So this has changed over time in that we've talked a lot in previous episodes about longer term thinking, and I think that's more relevant today. Yes, there are flip opportunities out there, but you've really got to try and create value or force value. So if it was a standard 3-bed mid-terrace house that you bought to refurb and sell on, I'd be questioning whether there's enough money in that as a flip. So your exit strategy is really important, versus in that same example, if it's a house on a big plot, then is there scope to refurb the existing house and maybe get another house in the garden? So what your exit is will determine how you get your money back. What's the market saying? So market demand is massive. And we've talked about this loads, stress testing. So stress test it on a flip, stress test it on a buy-to-let. Stress testing, saying that is really hard. Even if it is a garden plot that I've just explained, what if you don't get planning on that garden? Are you still going to make enough money? So you need to stress test that. Your finance costs are huge and ever changing. So again, that's a factor that needs stress testing. And paint the worst case scenario. You'd be foolish not to before you walk into it, just so you can understand what the worst case is. And with you going there and knowing and understanding that, I think there's something in you definitely not going there in reality.
Yeah, but I also think this isn't a place for blue sky thinking, really. It's not like, oh, let's hope for the best. It's like, no, actually plan for the worst and then you're fine.
Yeah, there are still ways of getting your money back. On a rental, I'd be looking longer term. On a flip, I'd be looking at how you can add value rather than just doing a refurb. And then when it comes to development, obviously there's a huge number of different strategies and different commercial building types, for example, that you can convert to residential. All of which can give you your money back. And it ultimately depends on what it is you're happy with as a return on your money in, or
Makes
ROI.
sense. Thank you for this.
Right. Number 6.
Yes. Go.
Where will we spend most of our time?
That's an interesting question. I mean, I think if you asked a lot of people, they'd go, well, obviously it's the kitchen, it's the heart of the home, but everybody's different. And actually, if you asked me, sadly, I would probably say in my study. What does
Can
it
we
say
just
about
caveat
me?
after sleeping?
Oh, yes,
typically.
right, bedroom. Okay. But you're right. For some, it depends how you use your house. So if you work from home, then a large chunk of your time is going to be in your home office. If you are working away and you come back in the evenings and it's all about relaxation, then potentially you are more in your kind of lounges, your family zones. If you are a massive cook, then you might be in your kitchen more. So you have to actually unpack as a family or whoever is buying and using that property. How do you each and how do you together use the property? And then you will then, I guess, from there, you then put the emphasis on those spaces being more important. I do think it's funny that the amount of us that now work from home, we probably don't spend enough time or money on actually designing out our home offices. It's sort of such a traditional view that you spend all your money on the kitchen, it being the heart of the home. Of course it is, and it's really important. But surely the space that we can spend up to 8 hours a day in really deserves some time and money spent on it as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's understanding. It's going back to those questions early on and then working out.
Can I ask a follow-up? Are we allowed?
Go on.
What's your view on garden space? I'll tell you where that's coming from.
Okay, yeah.
So every year...
Because I'm an interior designer, not an
Yeah, but you'll have a view better than... more qualified than me, for example.
I love a view,
And who doesn't
Yeah.
know that you don't love sharing a view?
Yeah.
So it's sunny a few times a year. And when in those few days or few weeks, to be fair to the UK, often, very often in that time, we're like, oh, we need to do the garden.
Yes.
And then the summer passes by and then you're like, oh, didn't do it. But on the flip side, it's like, well, we're only in there for 3 weeks out of the year. What's the point? It's functional. It does what, it could do with a little bit of improvement, but...
I've got such a view on this.
Go.
And even though I'm an interior designer, I actually have a bit of a thing. It depends how much you are looking out onto your garden. I hope you're looking out onto your garden a lot because there's such a connection to nature and how it impacts our well-being. It's called biophilic design.
Nice.
Yes. And I am all about that. So there's 2 ways of thinking about it. How much you get to actually see the outside and therefore feel like you're connecting with nature all day long. And then how much are you bringing in those outside materials into your house so that even if you're not looking outside, you still feel a connection to nature. So for example, in our house, I really love to have that connection. So we have a lot of like rustic timber around our home, just because even if I'm not looking out, I still have that connection. So that brings me on to, even if you're not actually physically outside in the garden, if you're looking out into a beautiful garden, it really does impact how you feel. It impacts your well-being. So I think no matter what, I'm not saying you have to spend loads, but I think you want to think about the design and the lighting, because when the garden is like properly lit and it's automated and it comes on at a particular time, again, it's something beautiful to look at when you're sat inside your home. So There you go. Answered that for you.
Thanks.
Oh, it's my turn to ask you something.
Yeah.
Okay, question number, who knows? What could go what could go wrong? Is this in life or
This is all really positive, isn't it? What could go wrong? Well, fair bit, actually. So if you don't get your planning right, that's going to come and bite you in the backside pretty firmly. Build costs, again, a lot of this is around due diligence. I've said it.
Milesh has said it a lot.
Once or twice, so I'll say it again. But it is all about due diligence. Your build costs, that you've got to go around and have lots of iterations of build costs before you're ready to sign contracts and go.
Yeah.
And even during the build, and this is where some people fall over, is during build, you have to have the management oversight relationships with your team to make sure that you are on track. You can't just, okay, here's the drawings, here's the money, off you go. There's a lot of oversight management that you need to do as a developer. Yes, your team's all there for you, but it's about using those relationships and that team to help you to make sure that you stick to what you've set out to do.
Yeah.
Delays are massive. Again, guess what? Communication, relationship, oversight management, finances. Again, if there is an issue with your build cost or there's some delays or whatever, there's going to be a financial implication.
Yeah.
And so this is where your broker comes good, in that if you're doing a development and you find that actually we're short of cash by X amount, have you got a development finance on it? If that is the case, then the first call you're making is to your broker. Give them an understanding of what's going on, why it's happened, and then understand what your options are to help you bridge that development finance.
Okay.
And whether the lender will entertain it or not.
Okay.
So the more you tell your broker, the more honest you are with your broker in terms of what's happened, the stronger the likelihood that they'll be able to help you out with it. And then finally, planning. Obviously, planning's critical, and I won't be starting on site until I'm pretty confident, or until I've got the bit of paper that says, yes, you can go and do the planning, especially with pre-commencement conditions and all that sort of stuff. It's just not worth the risk. And then contingency. So all the stuff we've covered, contingency planning is just that. So with that, your oversight, your management, having a contingency, number one, is really important.
Do you have that contingency in from the get-go in the money you've borrowed?
Yeah.
So
you wouldn't offer.
No, fine.
I don't offer until I know that my build costs, all my fees, including finance, has a contingency.
Okay.
And that makes it harder to make deals work. It does, genuinely. But you've just got to work harder to find them.
Okay. And just circling on the planning, I actually think that a lot of developers don't use planning consultants enough. They just rely on like an architect. And actually, if you bring those guys in early doors, they can save you some headaches.
Well, they can make or break a deal.
Yeah, exactly.
So they are, one of the first people.
Yeah.
You would have him for sure.
Yeah, but I don't know that everybody knows that. I mean, even if I'm doing luxury resi, that some people haven't even heard that is a kind of job. They just think that they'll bring in their architect and they will solve it all for them.
I mean, most architects do an element of planning. So I guess it depends on the complexity of it, as to whether or not it warrants. But typically, an architect would know.
You say that, but if it's a complex build or there's not a precedent for it on the street, I would say that probably 20% of our projects get rejected.
Really?
Yeah, and it'll be small things, but if we'd had a consultant, or sometimes then we've had to go and find a consultant to then put it back through, we would have saved all that time and money. So
quick tip on planning consultant as well.
Yeah.
Find one within your local area who knows your local authority.
Yes.
Because that number one, they've got a relationship with the local authority, hopefully.
Yeah.
And they'll know them. But also they know the intricacies of the different planning rules and regulations and how it's interpreted, not from a national level, but from a local authority level.
Yeah.
And that is really, really important.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
Okay. Question 8.
Go.
What will we regret in 5 years? Not in life. In relation to your work.
I think if you don't have quality products in the fundamentals. So what do I mean by that? The infrastructure of the building, which is kind of odd to say as an interior designer, because you'd think I might sit here and say spend on the fabrics or the furniture, but actually that's all things that can be changed, swapped, come in later down the line. But if you have not spent on, first of all, you need to decide what you want. If, for example, heating is important or lighting is important, if you don't, I think lighting is always important, but if you don't spend on getting that right from the beginning, same with things like flooring, sanitary ware, taps, all of the things that are really costly to swap out and actually a massive pain to change later, you are going to regret it big time.
So if you turned your house upside down,
Yes.
anything that doesn't fall out is what you're talking about.
Structural interior design items is what they're labelled as. Yeah. If you turned it upside down and it doesn't fall
My
out.
version's better.
Well, I like to call it SID.
Yeah.
Then that is the stuff you should spend money on. Definitely. Yeah.
Cushions?
Cushions, don't bother. Who needs a cushion? Oh, kidding. Says no interior designer ever. No, but there's two ways. Either you just go, fine, we're gonna have to, reduce our budget there, or you can do that sort of stuff over time. I think we are in a bit of a culture of we want things immediately now. Our parents didn't live like that. I know for sure that my mum and dad would save for years to do the next room or the next bit or buy the next sofa. There's nothing wrong with having to go, okay, well, at least we've got the fundamentals in, and now slowly we will add the next bits.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think it was save and spend, and now it's spend and save.
Yeah, it is.
Or just spend.
Just spend, I think.
Because credit's so much more available.
I know.
So it's just easy to go and get a credit card or go and get a loan on stuff.
Yeah.
And then you're not worrying about paying it off as much as we used to be going back a generation.
It's not healthy.
It's really easy to access. Anyway, we're going off.
Yeah, fine. That's another podcast.
Yeah.
Yes, that's me, I think, on that. Oh, I've got to ask you something. Question number 9. Are we making decisions based on facts or emotion?
Ooh, that's big.
Yeah, it is.
I think a few things spring to mind. FOMO, let's cover that one.
Okay, yeah.
There is FOMO, right?
Yes.
Social media doesn't help with this.
No.
Which is another consideration. The whole having stuff instantly without having to wait and all that, I think plays a big part of people's rationale and thinking.
Yeah.
Ego linked to FOMO.
Yeah.
So if that person's doing it, they're doing all right, then why can't I, and I want it now?
Yeah.
So there's this whole thing of financial freedom in 7 days through property. Let me tell you now, it is not real.
No. There's so much of that sort of thing out on social media.
Doing stuff with no money down.
Yes.
It is not real. Sorry. Dispel a few myths. But, you do need cash to start. You need to know why you're doing it and do it for the right reasons. But yeah, fear, FOMO, social media, and ego stroke comparison is the thief of joy.
Oh, I love it.
Just leave it there.
Just leave it there. Mic drop.
Final question for you.
Yes.
Will this work for us in 10 years?
I think it really depends at what stage of your life you have done this major renovation and whether you have planned for transition time. So, for example, there are certain renovations that you do now that are not going to translate for you in 10 years because of your life stage. One of those would be, say, at 24, I buy a great, first time buy. It's small. I make it really cool for I'm just reliving my youth here.
Did you say cool?
Yeah,
sure?
Thank you. For my young lifestyle, fancy free. And then 10 years later, I end up married with 2 kids. There's not much I can do to make that cool flat in wherever it is translate so well into the family lifestyle that I need. So no for that. But if, say, I bought something and it was a good size and the kids were young, I could make sure that how I design the house will be able to flex as we grow. So, for example, it's so common when you meet families with young kids that they want this playroom, but actually a playroom is really short-lived. So what will that playroom develop into later down the line? Things like if you've got like a smaller room and you think that you might decide to start up your own business, could that be something like a toddler room now, but then change into a home office later down the line? Do you think there's going to be a point where your parents might need to move in with you? Is there therefore a part of the house that you can design so that it's used for something now, but then it can become accommodation for them? It's putting in future proofing. The biggest one that I say a lot to anybody who is sort of 50 plus is, are we going to make some provisions for a lift? If this is the house you are going to see your days out in, not to be morbid again, and you want to be able to access the whole property, is there somewhere that we can, in the future, change you into a lift so that you can, worst case scenario, you've got that access? So if you ask those right questions, or you bring in a professional who will ask those right questions, for the right property, you can future-proof.
We'll have a staircase that will absorb a
stair lift.
stair lift.
Yeah, we're doing one at the moment, actually, which is such a lovely couple that are relocating from Switzerland. But he's in his 70s, and so we've changed the staircase so that it's not as steep, but also we're putting all the electrics and everything in so that it could take a stair lift in another 10 years or so.
Yeah.
Don't be scared to ask those questions as to where life might end up, I think.
Our room we had one room in our house. It's gone from a bar to a playroom.
Oh, yeah.
Now to a games room / kids work room.
Yeah. How much work's happening in that games room?
A little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Oh, you.
Our music room as well. It's all in the same.
All in the same room.
So it's multi-functioning.
Yes.
But it's evolved over the years, right? Which goes back to your point.
Lost the bar. Do you still sometimes sit in there go, remember those days?
Not now that I don't drink.
Oh, okay.
But yes, when I had to lose it, it was quite
it was
heartbreaking.
hard. Yes.
Right. 10 questions done.
Done.
Hot seat.
Done. Hot seat. Oh, goodness me. Okay.
You almost look like you've forgotten that.
I did. I totally forgot. I think I was just getting carried away in the questions. So, out of the 10 questions that we've covered today, what would be the one question that somebody should ask before starting a project? Milesh, what would be yours?
From my perspective, the question would be, drums, please. How do I get my money back?
Interesting. Okay, fine, good.
And you?
And mine would be, how do you want to live? So how is the property going to work for you? Done.
Nice.
Succinct. Hope you have found it really, really helpful. It's been a bit of a change in an episode this way. But I think actually what we've been sort of working towards is that successful projects aren't necessarily built by having all of the answers.
Yeah, it's built by asking better questions. Before committing time, money, energy, and relationships are everything.
So if you have enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a review, share it with anybody, and also please follow us on social media.
And if you've got a question that you'd love us to answer on the hot seat, then we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you so much for listening.